أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد. السلام عليك يا أبا عبد الله. السلام عليك يا ابن رسول الله. السلام عليك يا ابن أمير المؤمنين وابن سيد الوصيين. السلام عليك يا ابن فاطمة سيدة نساء العالمين. السلام عليك يا ثار الله وابن ثاره والوتر الموتور. السلام عليك وعلى الأرواح التي حلت بفنائك. عليكم مني جميعا سلام الله أبدا ما بقيت وبقي الليل والنهار. يا أبا عبد الله، لقد عظمت الرزية وجلت وعظمت المصيبة بك علينا وعلى جميع أهل الإسلام، وجلت وعظمت مصيبتك في السماوات على جميع أهل السماوات. فلعن الله أمة أسست أساس الظلم والجور عليكم أهل البيت، ولعن الله أمة دفعتكم عن مقامكم وأزالتكم عن مراتبكم التي رتبكم الله فيها. ولعن الله أمة قتلتكم، ولعن الله الممهدين لهم بالتمكين من قتالكم. برئت إلى الله وإليكم منهم ومن أشياعهم وأتباعهم وأوليائهم يا أبا عبد الله. إني سلم لمن سالمكم وحرب لمن حاربكم إلى يوم القيامة. ولعن الله آل زياد وآل مروان، ولعن الله بني أمية قاتبا، ولعن الله ابن مرجانا، ولعن الله عمر بن سعد، ولعن الله شمرا، ولعن الله أمة أسرجت وألجمت وتنقبت لقتالك. بأبي أنت وأمي لقد عظم مصابي بك، فأسأل الله الذي أكرم مقامك وأكرمني بك أن يرزقني طلب ثارك مع إمام منصور من أهل بيت محمد صلى الله عليه وآله. اللهم اجعلني عندك وجيها بالحسين عليه السلام في الدنيا والآخرة. يا أبا عبد الله، إني أتقرب إلى الله وإلى رسوله وإلى أمير المؤمنين وإلى فاطمة وإلى الحسن وإليك بموالاتك وبالبراءة ممن قاتلك ونسب لك الحرب، وبالبراءة من أسس أساس الظلم والجور عليكم. وأبرأ إلى الله وإلى رسوله ممن أسس أساس ذلك وبنى عليه بنيانا وجرى في ظلمه وجوره عليكم وعلى أشياعكم. برئت إلى الله وإليكم منهم، وأتقرب إلى الله ثم إليكم بموالاتكم وموالاة وليكم وبالبراءة من أعدائكم والناصبين لكم الحرب، وبالبراءة من أشياعهم وأتباعهم. إني سلم لمن سالمكم وحرب لمن حاربكم وولي لمن والاكم وعدو لمن عاداكم. فأسأل الله الذي أكرمني بمعرفتكم ومعرفة أوليائكم ورزقني البراءة من أعدائكم أن يجعلني معكم في الدنيا والآخرة، وأن يثبتني عندكم قدم صدق في الدنيا والآخرة، وأسأله أن يبلغني المقام المحمود لكم عند الله، وأن يرزقني طلب ثاركم مع إمام هدى ظاهر ناطق بالحق منكم. وأسأل الله بحقكم وبالشأن الذي لكم عنده أن يعطيني بمصابي بكم أفضل ما يعطي مصابا بمصيبته، مصيبة ما أعظمها وأعظم رزيتها في الإسلام وفي جميع السماوات والأرض. اللهم اجعلني في مقامي هذا ممن تناله منك صلوات ورحمة ومغفرة. اللهم اجعل محيا محمد وآل محمد ومماتي ممات محمد وآل محمد. اللهم إن هذا يوم تبركت به بنو أمية وابن آكلة الأكباد اللعين ابن اللعين على لسانك ولسان نبيك صلى الله عليه وآله في كل موطن وموقف وقف فيه نبيك صلى الله عليه وآله. اللهم لعن أبا سفيان ومعاوية ويزيد بن معاوية عليهم منك اللعنة أبد الآبدين. وهذا يوم فرحت به آل زياد وآل مروان بقتلهم الحسين صلوات الله عليه. اللهم فضاعف عليهم اللعن منك والعذاب الأليم. اللهم إني أتقرب إليك في هذا اليوم وفي موقفي هذا وأيام حياتي بالبراءة منهم واللعنة عليهم وبالموالاة لنبيك وآل نبيك عليه وعليهم السلام. اللهم لعن أول ظالم ظلم حق محمد وآل محمد وآخر تابع له على ذلك. اللهم لعن الإصابة التي جاهدت الحسين وشايعت وتبايعت وتابعت على قتله. اللهم لعنهم جميعا. السلام عليك يا أبا عبد الله وعلى الأرواح التي حلت بفنائك. عليك مني سلام الله أبدا ما بقيت وبقي الليل والنهار، ولا جعله الله آخر العهد مني لزيارتكم. السلام على الحسين وعلى علي بن الحسين وعلى أولاد الحسين وعلى أصحاب الحسين. اللهم خص أنت أول ظالم باللعن مني، وابدأ به أولا ثم لعن الثاني والثالث والرابع. اللهم لعن يزيد خامسا، ولعن عبيد الله بن زياد وابن مرجان وعمر بن سعد وشمرا وآل أبي سفيان وآل زياد وآل مروان إلى يوم القيامة. سجدة. اللهم لك الحمد على مصابهم، الحمد لله على عظيم رزيتي. اللهم ارزقني شفاعة الحسين يوم الورود، وثبت لي قدم صدق عندك مع الحسين وأصحاب الحسين الذين بطلوا مهجهم دون الحسين عليه السلام. اللهم
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. Assalamu alaikum to everyone here and also those tuning in online. We want to once again welcome everyone to the commemoration of the tragedy of Karbala. Tonight is the night of the 9th, so tomorrow is the day of the 9th of Tasu'ah, and then Tuesday will be Ashura, inshallah. We are once again here to collectively get closer to the Ahlul Bayt, better understand the tragedy that they faced, pay our respects to our Imam, and inshallah grow together through that experience. We're going to begin as always with the recitation of the Holy Quran. Inshallah we will begin with that recitation and benefit together inshallah. So on that note, we will commence and begin our recitation led by Brother Taha Nabavi with a loud salawat.
صل على محمد وآل محمد. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. يا أيها المزمل قم الليل إلا قليلا نصفه أو انقص منه قليلا أو زد عليه ورتل القرآن ترتيلا إنا سنلقي عليك قولا ثقيلا إن ناشئة الليل هي أشد وطئا وأقوم قيلا إن لك في النهار سبحا طويلا واذكر اسم ربك وتبتل إليه تبتيلا رب المشرق والمغرب لا إله إلا هو فاتخذه وكيلا واصبر على ما يقولون واهجرهم هجرا جميلا وذرني والمكذبين أولي النعمة ومهلهم قليلا إن لدينا أنكالا وجحيما وطعاما ذا غصة وعذابا أليما يوم ترجف الأرض والجبال وكانت الجبال كثيبا مهينا إنا أرسلنا إليكم رسولا شاهدا عليكم كما أرسلنا إلى فرعون رسولا فعصى فرعون الرسول فأخذناه أخذا وبيلا فكيف تتقون إن كفرتم يوما يجعل الولدان شيبا السماء منفطر به كان وعده مفعولا إن هذه تذكرة فمن شاء اتخذ إلى ربه سبيلا إن ربك يعلم أنك تقوم أدنى من ثلثي الليل ونصفه وثلثه وطائفة إن ربك يعلم أنك تقوم أدنى من ثلثي الليل ونصفه وثلثه وطائفة من الذين معك والله يقدر الليل والنهار علم أن لن تحصوه فتاب عليكم فاقرؤوا ما تيسر من القرآن علم أن سيكون منكم مرضى وآخرون يضربون في الأرض يبتغون من فضل الله وآخرون يقاتلون في سبيل الله فاقرؤوا ما تيسر منه وأقيموا الصلاة وآتوا الزكاة وأقرضوا الله قرضا حسنا وما تقدموا لأنفسكم من خير تجدوه عند الله هو خيرا وأعظم أجرا واستغفر الله واستغفر الله واستغفر الله إن الله غفور رحيم صدق الله العلي العظيم صلوات.
Ahsant. Let's send one more loud salawat for Taj. Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. Before we continue on with our program, we want to take a moment to thank our sponsors for this evening. They are the Hamadani family and the Abadi family. We ask that you recite a Surah Fatiha for their marhumin and the marhumin of all of those present. Salawat and Fatiha. Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. A couple of housekeeping announcements. First is, we're going to continue to try to arrive on time, so try to do that inshallah. And we're going to continue to have the shoe racks there, but when you enter, we ask that you place your shoes so that everything is orderly. If you want to recite, feel free to reach out to us in advance so you can do so. We only have a couple nights left, so time is tight. So check with myself or Sister Natasha if you'd like to recite. You're going to get tabarruk as you come through the door. Don't eat that unless you're one of the kids. Kids can eat, but just make sure you pick up after them. We also encourage everyone here to both pick up things if they're needed, help set up for salah, and just treat it like the volunteer program that it is. And finally, this goes without saying, but please keep proper Islamic attire at all times during the program. There's just a heads up about what the day of Ashura will look like. We're going to be at 11:30 a.m. meeting at the Holiday Inn Express in Springfield. From 11:30 again until 3:30 when there's the breaking of the partial fast, and a short while after that we'll have a break. We'll see each other again, inshallah, at 7:30 here for Sham al-Ghariban. So that's going to be the program, 11:30 a.m. at the Holiday Inn Express. On that note, we're going to continue on with our program, inshallah. We're going to bring up Sister Masuma Hassan for a poem. We'll bring her up with a loud salawat.
Salawat. Assalamu alaikum. This poem and the introduction for it is written by Asya Arastum. Tonight I would like to share with you a poem that is based largely on Imam Hussein's own words. The poem is divided into 3 sections based on the Imam's intended audience. The first section addresses those who sought to discourage him from his mission, be they genuine well-wishers or not. The second army directly addresses those who betrayed the Imam from within the Kufan army. The final section contains admonitions targeting people who were unsure of where they stood in Imam Hussein's time. The poem is titled Hussein's Last Exhortations. To those who sought to advise him. You ask me, why do you rise up? You say, stay here, stay safe, don't go. You tell me that I'm certain to die. Do you think I don't know? You say to lie low and weather the storm. If I do that, who will call for reform? If I hide in a shell, if I flee the scene, can you imagine what that would mean? You say the Kufans are faint of heart. If, for their city, I do not depart, if I don't announce, come to me, I am here, who's to say whether they are sincere? If I don't make the call, I won't know their hearts. But if I make my stand and request their hand, and then they disband, that will reveal what was not known from the start. I made a promise to them which I shall not break. I will go to them, whatever it takes. You tell me to compromise and resist no more. Is there nothing you fear more than bloodshed and war? Do you think that there is nothing worth dying for? My grandfather's sunnah is neglected. So many Muslims have defected. Islam is exposed and unprotected. Lies are accepted and truth is rejected. And you expect me to remain unaffected? Do you expect me to hide or stand by? Do you expect me to turn a blind eye? I embark on this quest at Muhammad's behest. Until I fulfill it, I will not rest. Though it bring tribulation, this is God's test. If God has decreed this, then I cannot flee it. If God has decreed this, then so be it. We'll march till we reach the land of our tombs, our craving since leaving our mother's wombs. Join me as martyrs for unrivaled success, a triumph that lies in our own deaths. We invade no kingdom, we claim no throne. Our reward is with God and God alone. I do not revolt so I may rule. By God, I only seek to cool the fires that will devour this nation if falsehood stays in power. If you are not with me, I'll be on my way. Allah be with me and let me not stray. To the Kufan army. You have torn God's books to shreds. You subsist on unlawful bread. I offer you guidance and salvation. Yazid only offers degradation. Betrayal courses through your veins. With betrayal your hearts are stained. From it stretches your branches, in it sink your roots. Poisoned are the wretched who partake of your fruit. You are the garden that pricks the one who weeds it, the mouth that bites the hand that feeds it, the ummah that kills the one fit to lead it. You and I are in no way strangers. I know too well of Kufa's dangers. I watched you desert my father and brother. Once more, will you hastily smother your pledges and give your oath to another? Think well before you make your choice. Will you ignore Ahlul Bayt's voice? Do you not know that we keep God's treasures, that our joy engenders his pleasure? Do you not know whose grandson I am? Do you wish to be by his tongue damned? Your betrayal will not sway me. If you join hands to slay me, Allah will avenge me and he will repay me. What can you do besides take my life? I do not flee from struggle and strife. Is death a worse fate than disgrace? If those are my options, then death I embrace. To those who straddle the fence. You are at a crossroads. Make sure you choose well. One path leads to heaven, the other to hell. You'll be raised with the leader you take as your guide. This is the time to choose your side. Beware, if you see a tyrant who commits blatant sin, and you keep silent, hush up and give in, if you hear my cry and don't come to my aid, if this solemn duty you attempt to evade, God will cast you into hell on your face. It's better that you be far from this place. If death frightens you, then you must keep in mind that with finite limits this world is designed. What appeal has this life when the next one transcends anything that we can at this stage comprehend? All things will fade in this world you cherish. In the end, even the best shall perish. For those firm in faith, death means release from prison to eternal satisfaction and peace. But those steeped in wealth, whose souls are earthbound, must pass from their castles to a hole in the ground. Don't let your faith slip away and lose flavor, while this world you relish and savor. Don't make creation those to whom you cater, instead of serving your Lord and Creator. Know that hardship can be a gift in disguise, a chance for your best self to arise, while a long life of luxury, comfort, and ease can lure you to sin and moral disease. So join me as martyrs for unrivaled success, a triumph that lies in our own deaths. We invade no kingdom, we claim no throne, our reward is with God and with God alone. Salawat.
Ahsant. Let's send one more loud salawat for Sister Masuma. Next, we're going to have a short speech from Sister Sakina Abbas. We'll bring her up with a loud salawat.
Please recite another loud salawat. When we hear the name Abbas, we think of the standard bearer of Imam Hussein alayhi salam and the lion of Imam Ali alayhi salam, the loyal and courageous brother who was tasked with retrieving water for the women and children of the camp, who defended the water skin in the hope that Lady Sakina, Lady Zainab, and the others may drink even a sip of water. This event is one of the many examples of the steadfast loyalty of Hazrat Abbas that Hazrat Abbas had to Imam Hussein alayhi salam. From the very beginning, Hazrat Abbas was bound to Imam Hussein. On the day of his birth, it was Imam Hussein who recited the adhan and iqama in the ears of Hazrat Abbas. And it was him who Hazrat Abbas saw when he first opened his eyes. Even Imam Ali alayhi salam had prostrated as a mark of thanks to Allah that he had been blessed with a son who could aid Imam Hussein during the events of Karbala. But Hazrat Abbas had been serving Imam Hussein long before Karbala. One narrated story describes a time when Imam Hussein was sitting with Imam Ali, with Hazrat Abbas present as well. Imam Hussein had gotten thirsty and asked Qambar, a freed slave of Imam Ali, for some water. Hazrat Abbas, who was still a young boy at the time, did not hesitate for a second as he rushed to get the water for Imam Hussein himself. On the way back, Hazrat Abbas couldn't balance the cup of water properly, causing it to spill and drench his clothes. Not only does this anecdote show how willing Hazrat Abbas was to serve Imam Hussein, but that Hazrat Abbas was also trained throughout his life for his task at Karbala. The concept of securing water is a recurring theme in the life of Hazrat Abbas. From the time he was a young boy who rushed to get water for Imam Hussein, to the Battle of Siffin, to the events of Karbala. The Battle of Siffin is the first recorded event in which Hazrat Abbas is mentioned. Muawiyah had reached the battleground earlier, resulting in his men taking control of the river Euphrates that flowed nearby. They did not allow Imam Ali's men to access the river. So when Imam Ali and his men reached the battleground, they had no source of water. In order to gain access to the river, Imam Ali granted permission to Malik Ashtar and a few other men, which included Imam Hussein and Hazrat Abbas. This fight to gain access to the river is the first recorded event in which Hazrat Abbas demonstrates his warriorship and again prepares for his mission at Karbala. As Hazrat Abbas grew older, his love for and devotion to Imam Hussein grew as well. It is narrated that before his death, Imam Ali alayhi salam entrusted each of his sons and all other members of the house to the care of Imam Hassan alayhi salam, everyone except for Hazrat Abbas. Imam Ali then placed Hazrat Abbas's hand in Imam Hussein's hand and entrusted him to Imam Hussein. Imam Ali instructed Hazrat Abbas to watch over Imam Hussein and protect him from any danger. Hazrat Abbas took on this task without any question, and he remained loyal and devoted to Imam Hussein. The greatest example of this devotion is through the actions of Hazrat Abbas during the events of Karbala. Seeing the dry lips and hearing the thirsty cries of the children of the camp, Hazrat Abbas was granted permission to retrieve water from the river Euphrates. When Hazrat Abbas arrived at the river, he did not let himself drink even a sip of water, as the cries of the thirsty children still echoed in his head. On the journey back from the river, enemies surrounded him, with the single goal of preventing Hazrat Abbas from reaching the camp with the water. One enemy shot an arrow from behind a date tree, hitting and amputating his right hand. However, this did not discourage Hazrat Abbas. He continued with the standard held high in his left hand and the water skin strapped across his back. Another enemy shot an arrow at his left hand, amputating it as well. Still, despite the pain and thirst coursing through his body, Hazrat Abbas continued, holding the water skin between his teeth. Then a spear hit the water skin, the cool water hitting the burning sand of Karbala. After a blow to the head, Hazrat Abbas fell to the ground and called out, "Peace be upon you, Aba Abdullah." Imam Hussein rushed to Hazrat Abbas at the sound of his call. Just as the face of Imam Hussein was the first Hazrat Abbas had ever seen, his would also be the last face he ever saw. So when you hear the name Abbas, think of the courageous lion fighting to please and protect Imam Hussein alayhi salam. Think of the devoted standard bearer who could not take a sip of water before he was certain that Sakina's thirst was quenched. Think of the loyal brother who was committed to serving Imam Hussein from the moment he opened his eyes to the time he closed them. And may Allah grant us all the strength to be as courageous as Hazrat Abbas, as devoted as Hazrat Abbas, and as loyal as Hazrat Abbas alayhi salam. Salawat.
Ahsant. Let's send one more loud salawat for Sister Sakina. Before we have our last performance, there's a couple of points I want to bring up. The first is if you, we want kids to be here for the program. You'll see there's a lot of kids here. If you feel like your kids are getting too loud, a little bit too boisterous, there's a hall across from here, the blue carpeted hall. You could take them to, and inshallah there they can have a little bit of room to rest, get some energy, and come back inshallah. So one point to keep in mind. The second is every single night, in the beginning it doesn't seem so packed, and it gets very packed by the end near the doors. Yesterday it was a problem, it's been a continued problem, so I'm going to ask that everyone who can come pretty much where I am, this close, with a loud salawat. I'm going to wait until that happens. The sisters as well, inshallah, come as close as you can to that area. Okay, on that note, we're going to have a salam from Brother Muhammad Ibrahim. We'll bring him up with a loud salawat.
Salawat. Woe be unto me, Hussein, woe be unto me. Woe be unto me, Hussein, woe be unto me. Woe be unto me, Hussein, woe be unto me. Woe be unto me, Hussein, woe be unto me. Why do you have no kafan? Woe be unto me. Why do you lay alone? Woe be unto me. O Hussein, O Hussein, O Hussein, O Hussein. There's no head on your body, woe be unto me. You have a finger missing, woe be unto me. Why do you not have no shirt, woe be unto me. Your body is drenched with blood, woe be unto me. Woe be unto me, Hussein, woe be unto me. Woe be unto me, Hussein, woe be unto me. Woe be unto me, Hussein, woe be unto me. Woe be unto me, Hussein, woe be unto me. I died before I was born, so my kafan I have worn. In the womb my love was torn, for Hussein my heart is torn. For Hussein my heart is torn. For Hussein my heart is torn. To you I will cry on my knees, Close to you I want to be. Only you is what I see. Only your lifeless body. Only your lifeless body. Only your lifeless body. Woe be unto me, Hussein, woe be unto me. Woe be unto me, Hussein, woe be unto me. Woe be unto me. Woe be unto me, Hussein, woe be unto me. Woe be unto me, Hussein, woe be unto me. All their spears and all their knives, all the children and their cries, Fatima's tear-filled eyes, blood rain fell from the skies, blood rain fell from the skies, blood rain fell from the skies. You lay alone in the sand, next to your brother's cut hand. We will never understand what you have lost in this land, what you have lost in this land, what you have lost in this land. Woe be unto me, Hussein, woe be unto me. Woe be unto me, Hussein, woe be unto me. Woe be unto me, Hussein, woe be unto me. Woe be unto me, Hussein, woe be unto me. You bled from every vein, with your blood the world is stained. In my heart I feel the pain. All I say is Ya Hussein. All I say is Ya Hussein. All I say is Ya Hussein. When Zainab started to cry, looking at your lips so dry, she lifted to the skies. A second death Ali died. A second death Ali died. A second death Ali died. Woe be unto me, Hussein, woe be unto me. Woe be unto me, Hussein, woe be unto me. Woe be unto me, Hussein, woe be unto me. Woe be unto me, Hussein, woe be unto me. Salawat.
Ahsant. Let's send one more loud salawat for Muhammad. We're going to, inshallah, bring up our respected Shaykh in a moment. Before we do that, I have two requests, but they're specifically for the sisters. I promise that this is not a request from me, but from the sisters themselves who asked me. So the first is, it seems like the brothers have moved up, but the sisters have not. So if the sisters could please shift up as much as possible. Let's do so with a loud salawat. Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. And the second is, and this and the first request, I asked the sisters to check themselves and peer pressure each other, but the other is, to the extent possible, if there are kids that are particularly rambunctious, feel free to use that blue hall over there so they can get some place to release their steam. Okay, with that, we're going to bring up our respected Sheikh. We'll bring up Shaykh Azhar Sheraze with a loud salawat.
Perfect. Please recite Surah Al-Fatiha for the sponsors of tonight's Majlis and for their marhameen and for all of your marhameen and for the mu'mineen and mu'minat throughout the world. Masbuqatan bis salawat ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. Brothers, inshallah, just so we don't have to keep doing this, we'll kindly ask you to just move forward as much as you can, inshallah. And please recite one more salawat, please. Allahumma salli ala Muhammadin wa ali Muhammad. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين بارئ الخلائق أجمعين فاطر السماوات والأرضين والصلاة والسلام على أشرف الأنبياء والمرسلين سيدنا ومولانا أبي القاسم المصطفى محمد وعلى أهل بيت الطيبين الطاهرين المعصومين المظلومين أما بعد فقد قال الله سبحانه وتعالى في القرآن المجيد بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم يا أيها الذين آمنوا استجيبوا لله وللرسول إذا دعاكم لما يحييكم صدق الله العلي العظيم أعظم الله أجورنا وأجوركم بمصابنا بالحسين عليه الصلاة والسلام. May Allah magnify your reward for the grief, for the tears that you express on a night such as this. For those who weep for Imam Hussein, man baka aw tabaka, even those who pretend to weep for Imam Hussein alayhi salatu wasalam, for them is paradise. Because it is that divine principle that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will raise you with those whom you love. And so sometimes with those whom we love, we also fake it till we make it, as they say. Right? Maybe we're not in the mood right now to be kind to our spouses. I'm not feeling it today that I be good to my children. But it doesn't matter, because the Prophet, because Ahlul Bayt were good to their children. They were good to their spouses. And so get over ourselves and we follow on their path and we love them. And the one whom we love most of all is Aba Abdullah. And so on the day of his remembrance and the remembrance of those who were beloved to him, we should show it, we should feel it as best as we can, so that we may be counted amongst those, even angels of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, who have been created by God to mourn and to weep for the master of martyrs, Imam Hussein alayhi salatu wassalam. And so please recite the loudest of your salawat. We live in very difficult times. Right? You just turn on the news or open your device and you would have seen quite the news. But in those moments of political and social disarray and confusion and worry about the future, fall back on those whom give you moral inspiration. Fall back on those individuals who have been given to you as gifts of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. لَقَدْ كَانَ لَكُمْ فِي رَسُولِ اللَّهِ أُسْوَةٌ حَسَنَةٌ. The Prophet's example has been given to you by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala as a model, a beautiful exemplar, a template. Remember those who accused the followers of Amir al-Mu'mineen of being too wishful thinking, dreamers, mutamanniya. Right? Because the followers of Amir al-Mu'mineen, they may have been just a handful in the house of Lady Fatima when all was going awry. When the ummah allowed the wrong path forward, but they did not become jaded. They knew that the world in which they live was an arena, a farm, a mazra, a dunya mazratul akhirah. It's a farmland for our hereafter. And so it's not our prerogative or our worry whether the tests or challenges look this way or that way. All we know is that we have to rise to the occasion. We have to do what is right. We have to follow in the footsteps of that path that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has listed for us, and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will decide when to bring about that victory. But be hopeful. The victory is coming. The success will arrive, but it will arrive on Allah's terms. It will arrive when the representative of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala knows that is the right time. All you and I need to do is just do our best. Allah inshallah will do the rest. Recite salawat, please. But along the way, as we navigate through very confusing times, you will find people of different value systems, different religions, different ways, different isms, and sometimes you will find that others have some good things to offer, and that should not surprise you, for everyone is a creation of God. Everyone has been gifted that divine conscience, that fitrah, that calls them to seek out what is good and what is haqq and what is right. Not everyone gets all of it perfectly right. Certainly not me. Right? You may find that what's in the hands of a Christian or a Jewish person or a liberal or a conservative or a Democrat or a Republican, some of it may be very good and may benefit our own communities. That's completely fine, but the arbiter of what we allow in our hearts, in our souls, what we allow our children to partake in, what we encourage our communities to get involved with, it must have an arbiter, a criterion, a furqan, that will help us make sense of the confusing world around us. And that furqan is the Book of God and the examples of the Ahlul Bayt alayhim wassalatu wassalam. They are the arbiter that will allow us to decide. And so when we see something that aligns with the message of Imam Hussein, we may bring it in and we may enjoy and we may celebrate alongside even our neighbors and our friends. But if something does not, we have to say, lakum deenukum waliyadeen. You do as your way dictates, and we will do as our way, our religion, our faith, our principles dictate. Right? And we should be proud of that. We should be happy to do that as we engage and we interact with our fellow human beings. They are our neighbors, and we will do our best to uphold those principles of neighborliness that we find in the Holy Quran. Just a few examples that we remind ourselves of. That Allah has honored the children of Adam. لَقَدْ كَرَّمْنَا بَنِي Adam. There's an innate dignity in human beings that causes you and I to seek out a harmonious relationship with others. نَفَخْتُ فِيهِ مِنْ رُوحِي. Human beings are not like pieces of Play-Doh or rocks or stones, or even the trees or the animals, but they have been given what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala calls the breath of God, the ruh, the spirit of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. I have blown into humanity my ruh, my spirit. That's what's inside of you. The ruh of God is a creation of God. God has made it. But it's symbolic of that intimate creation, that intimate relationship with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala Himself. And so this is the basis of our understanding of the human dignity that everyone deserves. But our moral compass must always be there as we interact with dignity with other human beings. We should be proud of this. In fact, the Quran has a very interesting verse of Quran. We are people of Tawheed. We worship one God, the God. And no other claimant or idol deserves to be worshipped in our rational and religious understanding. But the Quran tells us that when you encounter others, أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم ولا تسبوا الذين يدعون من دون الله فيسبوا الله عدوا بغير علم. You will find out there that there will be people who worship all sorts of things, and they call upon gods, rather false gods, other than Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. We say, our principles tell us this is false, this is wrong. And so we have a respectful disagreement with anyone else who believes that something limited can be God, or a stone can be God, or that their desires can be God. We disagree with that. And you must disagree with that. You must be proud to disagree with that. But what the Quran says is that you should not do sub of those who are false gods. Our society is a society today where sub is the common dialogue and discourse of how we find on social media and in our political environment. Right? We use the most foul of language to describe our political enemies, or the ideas of others, or the gods of others. The Quran says, don't do this. You can do tabarri, that we don't agree with that. That's not our way. But don't spew filth towards their gods, because in reality you're spreading filth everywhere. You're going to poison the well, as they say. You will create a toxic environment, the Quran says, because then they will start to do sub of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. The very idea of the sacred will disappear. And again, with all due respect, isn't that what's happening today? Is there anything sacred anymore? Is there anything that actually has so much meaning and profundity that people are afraid to disrespect it? That world is disappearing right in front of our eyes. And so the Quran calls on the believers to be better. Right? Even on the day of Siffin, Amir al-Mu'mineen saw that some of his companions were doing sub to Muawiyah and his army. Right? You understand what I mean by sub? It's like, you know what I'm talking about. In very foul, despicable ways of speaking that are unworthy of a believer. Amir al-Mu'mineen said, don't do that. Muawiyah is the arch enemy of Islam. So much of the destruction of Islamic history is because of him. Amir al-Mu'mineen says, speak accurately about who he is and what they are doing. But don't demean yourself in the process. Right? Because you yourself are not worthy of that, and in the process, you're going to mess it up for the rest of us. people will start mudslinging all over the place. And so the very concept, the potential of a dignified human existence, of coexistence, where people can agree to disagree, that will even start to fall apart. We are witnesses over humankind, and the Prophet is witness over us. We have to be better, my brothers and sisters. Don't devolve when you see the political parties and the pundits and the social media trolls. They do that. That's not our way. Our way is the way of Rasulullah and the Ahlul Bayt. Recite salawat, please. Our tradition is something that we should be deeply proud of. One where the examples of our religion, the templates of our faith, they exemplified the better way forward in every moment in history. When Muawiyah decided to secede, is that the word? Secede? Did I pronounce that right? He decides that he's going to make a claim against Amir al-Mu'mineen and start a khilafah somewhere else, in Sham, in Syria. Amir al-Mu'mineen is authorized by God. He is authorized by the Prophet. But Amir al-Mu'mineen's way was not to enforce even that. He waited until the people begged him to take the leadership, and then he said, okay. Before that, he said, I don't want this. It was when the people understood finally that we cannot be without you, then he had the legitimacy of God, which is really all that matters, the legitimacy of the Prophet, which is all that matters, but he also had the legitimacy of the people. That mattered politically to the Imam. And so he writes to Muawiyah that the people have called me to be their leader. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has designated me as such. You remember Ghadir. It is said that he was in negotiations with Muawiyah for 1 year. For 1 year. Is it 36 Hijrah to 37 Hijrah after Hijrah? Someone else claims to be the ruler of perhaps one of the, if not the largest and most powerful nation on earth. Amir al-Mu'mineen tries to find a peaceful solution. You know what he says? He says, why do we need everyone to fight and all this bloodshed to take place? Why don't you and me fight? And this is what I'm about to get at. Let's avoid all the bloodshed and killing and the harm that will come to Muslims. Let's you and me fight. Don't forget that I hold the sword in my hand that fought against your relatives so long ago. I'm ready to use it again. Imagine if there was a state in the United States of America that decided to secede in this way. 1 hour would not pass before the army would roll in. Right? And so we have a tradition of recognizing the humanity of people. That there is maslahah in peace, my brothers and sisters. But now I will come to the point of my speech tonight. At some point, there will be those individuals and those people who will refuse to be peaceful, as they say. Those who are enemies of not just God, not just the divine representatives, but enemies of humanity themselves. And so what Islam calls you and I to have, my brothers and sisters, is a very important recognition, a very important value, and that is ghairah. We must move in the direction of peace and harmony at all times. But there will be times when we have to stand up and we have to say, this is wrong. This is unjust. This is not right. Let's give a few examples, inshallah. Help me with salawat ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. idfa' billati hiya ahsan. Defend, the Quran says, with what is most beautiful. And so we'll remind ourselves of some beautiful examples of this. But we have to have that ghaira, that sense of honor and dignity that wants and makes us want to protect what is sacred and what is important in our lives, inshallah. I'll explain this further. I have to trouble you again. Please come forward 3-4 steps, inshallah, and do so with the loudest of your salawat, please. Brothers, inshallah, if you can come this side and face me, you'll have your backs towards the sisters, inshallah. This is a value that Islam teaches us. Our properties, for example, our lands, our homes, we will give. If we are worthy of that tawfiq, we will give our property in the way of God. They used to call, they call Lady Sakina Karima bintul Kareem. If you had asked, "Oh Shimmer," for the earrings that you ripped from her ears, she would have given them to you. But that property that's in your hands, you will give it on your terms, on the Prophet's terms, on Ahlul Bayt's terms. It should not be taken from you. The same with our bodies. Our bodies and ourselves is an amana from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. It belongs to God. And so you and I don't have the right to let people humiliate us or to push us around, to just roll over and let people treat us with indignity or to harm us. We have to stand up. Say, this is not right. I need you to stop right now. Of course, there's a way to do this. We must be wise. We must be hakim as we defend this. But we have to have that ghaira in our hearts. Right? Don't take cowardice for being peace-loving. We are peace-loving, but we are not cowards. With our families, I know this is going to be a little bit controversial, but especially our brothers. You have families and loved ones in your life, and there will be those who misbehave, na'udhu billah, with them. You have to be a wall, a shield in front. Excuse me, is there a problem? I don't appreciate the way you're speaking. Our sisters are proud, they are brave, they are strong, they are capable. And they can 99.9% of the time handle themselves. But we are called on by our faith to have that ghaira. And we should not be afraid of that. We should not treat that as some sort of conspiracy of Andrew Tate. Don't worry about this fellow. Right? Look to our example of our religion. Right? They should feel, your family should feel that you care about them, that you care for their well-being. And if there are those who are, you understand what I'm saying. But the most important of that which we should care about, and that we should be willing to be ready to stand up and to speak a good word when evil is trying to destroy it and harm it, are our values. We should not be afraid to stand up for what we believe is right. Again, there's so much wisdom that we need to have in this process. The more wiser ulama in our community can help you. The elders in the community can guide you. People who are knowledgeable, who are experienced, can help create templates for us to be dignified, but to be brave. To be brave is not always to shout and to scream or to do something like this. Maybe we do need to be quiet, right? But the ghairah should be in your hearts, my brothers and sisters. Let's explore this a little bit more with salawat, please. You know, they call the Imam Hussein on the day of Ashura, he called out, Hal min nasirin yansurna, Hal min mu'inin yu'inuna, Hal min dhabbin yadhubbu an harame Rasulillah. He called his family, meaning his women and his children, the haram. Haram means sacred. Masjidul Haram, the sacred masjid. Right? Our families, they are a kind of sanctuary for us, my brothers and sisters. It is said that Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa alihi wa sallam he decides to enter into a peace treaty with the Quraysh, with the mushrikeen. Again, this is after years of fighting and killing and all of the stuff that they had done to the Prophet. He decides that he's going to enter into a peace treaty with the Quraysh. There were some who disagreed with the Prophet. And in fact, one of those individuals accused the Prophet of being a sellout. I had never doubted the Prophet more than I had doubted on that day of the Sulh of Hudaybiyah. Amir al-Mu'mineen is the one who drafted the draft, the Sulh. And this was 10 years of peace that the Prophet is agreeing to with the Quraysh. They thought the Prophet was selling out. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, what does he think about this? Inna fatahna laka fathan mubina. We have given you, O Prophet, a manifest victory. The way that some people think victory is that they think that they have entered in with tanks and bombs and they've decimated the lands. Now they think we are victorious. But Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says it was after this peace treaty that you have achieved victory. Because the angels of God, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is not looking at things with a material lens. Where kingdoms and tanks and weapons, that is what brings dignity to a nation. It's morality that brings dignity to a nation. That now Rasulullah and the Muslims can live in dignity and honor amongst their neighbors. They can teach their children their religion without worrying about death and assassination and harm. They can live peacefully, prioritizing the learning, the teaching, the tarbiyah that Islam is calling us to do. This is victory, my brothers and sisters. But the problem is this, that peace treaty didn't last very long. It was a 10-year peace. It only lasted 2 years. Why? Because the Quraysh and their allies, the Banu Bakr, they decided that they're going to attack and kill a number of men from the tribe of Banu Khuza'ah. They killed these men. The Quraysh gave weapons and weapons of mass destruction and tools to destroy, and they murdered. And as far as I know, Banu Khuza'ah was not, they were allies of the Muslims, they were not necessarily Muslims. I've not seen any record of Banu Khuza'ah at this moment having converted to Islam. But the ghairah of the Prophet in this moment, that protective, that we need to ensure that innocent life is not harmed in this way, that society cannot be such as this, where people are ruthless not afraid to kill and to harm and to perform bloodshed, that is when Fathul Makkah took place. That the Prophet walks into Makkah with 10,000 men. As far as I know, not a sword came out of its sheath. But we are going to do things differently from now on. Right? We are not going to allow innocent people who have agreed to live in civil society, that they're going to be harmed in this way. Recite salawat, please. One more salawat, please. And so we come to the position of the shuhada, the martyrs in the way of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. That position is not like any other positions. The Quran says, وَلَا تَحْسَبَنَّ الَّذِينَ قُتِلُوا فِي سَبِيلِ اللَّهِ أَمْوَاتًا. Do not even imagine, do not even think. وَلَا تَحْسَبَنَّ. In your calculations and in your assessments and your understanding, you will make certain decisions about who is what. Do not even think that these who are killed in the way of God, who are the shuhada, do not even think that they are dead. Bal ahya'un, they are alive. They are more alive than you and I are alive. عند ربهم يرزقون. Allah is nourishing them, providing for them with a greater life than we can ever imagine. We have to honor those who give their lives in this way. إِنَّ لَكَ فِي الْجَنَّةِ دَرَجَةً لَا تَنَالُهَا إِلَّا بِالشَّهَادَةِ. The Prophet speaks to Imam Hussein. Oh Hussein, there is a place for you in paradise which will not be achieved except through martyrdom. To extinguish yourself. You've seen the way a moth flutters and will fly directly into the candle, right? Because they want to be in the light. They're attracted to the nur. Right? This is Imam Hussein on the day of Ashura. He's attracted to the nur samawati wal ard. And so we find this ghaira in Karbala as well. Imam Hussein, he enters the lands of Karbala, and it is said that from the 3rd of Muharram to the 9th of Muharram, he was in negotiations with Umar ibn Sa'ad. He told Hur and his contingent that we will leave. We don't want any battle, we don't want any war. I've brought my children, my women. Right? The Imam is not someone who is, na'udhu billah, bloodthirsty or na'udhu billah, reckless. Right? He just wants to inspire. He just wants to show this ummah that we need to be better. We need a better way than what we're seeing now. Why did Umar ibn Sa'ad decide? For those many days he was in negotiations. I promise you, Umar ibn Sa'ad was very well versed in the logical arguments for the existence of God. He was very well aware of the fact that the Prophet was a messenger selected by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. But then there are those people who decide that the sacred doesn't have any meaning to them. What has meaning to them is palaces, power, rulership of cities in Khorasan. And in that moment, it is said that Umar ibn Sa'ad was proud to take a bow into his hands and shoot it at the camp of Imam Hussein. Let it be witness to Ibn Ziyad that I was the first to begin this battle in Karbala. But now come to this aspect of the story. Shimr ibn Dil-Jawshan comes to the camp of Imam Hussein and he calls out, "Where are the children of al-Baneen?" It is said that Hazrat Abul Fadl al-Abbas, that great son of al-Baneen, he doesn't say anything. He is ready and at attention, waiting for the command of his Imam. So Imam Hussein says, "Abbas, go and speak to him." Hazrat Abbas says, "What do you want?" Shimr, he says, "You are my relative. We are cousins. And so I want to give you aman, safe passage." You know what Abbas said? He said, "May your aman go to hell. May your safe passage be cursed and may you be cursed." This is how you face against such a taghut. Someone who has proven themselves to have their hearts sealed. Someone who has decided that innocent women and children and the grandson of the Prophet of God doesn't deserve aman, but anyone else would deserve aman. Hazrat Abbas was so shaken hearing this. Who was Hazrat Abul Fadl al-Abbas, my brothers and sisters? Is there any example that we need more than anything today than this individual? Who was he? History tells us that when Imam Hussein was much younger, people would see a little boy following the Imam around everywhere he went. He would cling to Abu Abdullah. They would ask, "Who is this boy? Is this the slave of Hussein?" This is not the slave of Hussein. This is the beloved of Hussein. This is what love looks like. It is said that Imam Sajjad narrates that the shuhada will have such a position of honor in the presence of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala yawm al-qiyamah. But then they will look to the a'raf and they will see such an individual, a shaheed of an unimaginable quality. And they will have ghibta. They will be jealous, they will be envious. Who is that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is honoring so much? That whose light shines brighter than everyone else? Imam Sajjad says, "That is my uncle Abbas, Qamar Bani Hashim, the flag bearer in the army of Imam Hussein alayhi salatu wassalam." The ghaira, that desire to protect what was right, what was beloved to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, cannot be eclipsed. He is a full moon. He shines the light of haqq and truth on the lands of Karbala when it was dark. And so, when Imam Ali alayhi salatu wasalam was on his deathbed, the family is watching as the Imam struggles with so much pain. But then suddenly it is said that the Imam, it's as if he panicked. And he called his companions to him and his loved ones to him. And he reminded them that the covenant of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala continues in my son Hassan. And so he called them one by name to give their allegiance to Imam Hassan al-Mujtaba. But there's a little young boy in the corner. His name has not been called by his Amir. And so this young Abul Fadl al-Abbas comes to the side of Amir al-Mu'mineen. You know, it is said that Hazrat Abul Fadl al-Abbas fought at Siffin. He was 14 years old. He fought bravely. He defeated so many of the enemy. But Amir al-Mu'mineen said, "Oh Abbas, come back here. Come back here. You are not going to become a shaheed on this day. You are needed for another day. Oh my Mawla, Amir al-Mu'mineen, you have told all of the others to give their pledge. But what about me? Do I also not have this pledge?" Amir al-Mu'mineen says, "Oh Abbas, you do not have this pledge. You have a different pledge." He takes the hand of Abbas and he calls Imam Hussein to his bedside. And he places the hand of Abbas in the hands of Hussein. And he says, "Abbas, who do you see?" You know what he answers? "I see my master Hussein." He says, "Oh Abbas, a time will come when my son Hussein will rely on you. He will need you on that day. The same way that Hazrat Musa relied on Harun, the same way that Rasulullah used to rely on me, you will be there for Hussein on that day. Do I have your assurance?" Hazrat Abul Fadl al-Abbas, he agrees to never leave the side of Abu Abdullah. But come now to the day of Ashura. Imam Hussein looks across the Maidan and what does he see? You know what he says? He says, "My Mawla Hussein is about to be gharib. He's about to be alone. Let me go do something." He comes again with his head lowered into the khayma of Abu Abdullah. And he says, "Mawla, I'm here and I'm ready to go fight for you." Imam Hussein says, "Oh Abbas, you are the standard bearer of my army. If you are to go and if you are to leave this world, the enemy will know that my family has no protector. There will be no one to help my family after you. No, Abbas, I do not want to give you permission." But what can Imam Hussein do when he hears the cries of little children? Al-Atash, Al-Atash. We are dying of thirst. We are thirsty. Imam Hussein says, "Oh Abbas, I don't want you to go fight in the battle. But my children are so thirsty. Please go to the Furat. Get them something to drink." Hazrat Abul Fadl al-Abbas, he comes across Zainab on his way to the Furat. She says, "Oh Abbas, I remember when our father Amir al-Mu'mineen told me that I would have to lead our family out of a great musibah. And I did not understand what he meant, because did not we have Abbas with us? How could anything happen to us when Abbas was with us? But I see now you're going to the Maidan. And those who go to the Maidan, they never return. Now see how Lady Sakina, the little child, comes and says, "Oh my Uncle Abbas, I heard that you're bringing us water. I'm so thirsty. Ali Asghar is so thirsty. Thank you, my uncle." She has hope in her heart that when Abbas says he's going to do something, he always succeeds in his accomplishment. It is said that Hazrat Abul Fadl al-Abbas, he mounts his horse. There are three things in his hand. There is a sword in his hand. There's the flag of Islam in his hand. And there's also a water skin. The narrations tell us that when he went to the Furat, brothers and sisters, the army of Umar ibn Sa'd, they parted like the sea of Musa. They must have remembered Siffin. They knew exactly who Hazrat Abul Fadl al-Abbas was. He dismounts from his horse. Look how he wades into the river of the Furat. He can feel the coolness of the river at his feet. But my brothers and sisters, some of the poets of the Azhar have not been fair to Hazrat Abul Fadl al-Abbas. They have not been fair to him. He takes that water in his hands, he holds it to the sky, and he says, "Oh Allah, bear witness, not a drop of this water will reach my throat until the children of Hussein have had something to drink." He now fills the water skin. His qibla is now the khayyam of the children of Hussein alayhi salatu wassalam. But my brothers and sisters, the books of Maqatil tell us that 4,000 soldiers now surround Hazrat Abul Fadl al-Abbas between him and his qibla. And now and see how he fights so bravely. He fights like the moon on the dark night, my brothers and sisters. He clears one line of his enemy only to come to another line and another line. Brothers and sisters, they surround Hazrat Abul Fadl al-Abbas like cowards. No one is ready. No one is brave enough to face Hazrat Abul Fadl al-Abbas as a warrior. And so they throw rocks at a distance. They throw arrows at a distance, my brothers and sisters. But the narrations tell us, my brothers and sisters, there were palm trees that were scattered across the plains of Karbala. And so there was one who was hiding behind this palm tree. When Hazrat Abul Fadl al-Abbas and his back was turned, he came from behind. He struck the arm of Abbas, and now the arm of Abbas has now fallen upon the sands of Karbala. Abbas is not shaken, my brothers and sisters. He continues to fight. But again now, the narrations tell us that across from the other side, a mal'oon comes and crosses, and now cuts the left arm of Abbas. You know what Abbas said? When his left arm falls upon the sands of Karbala, he speaks to his soul. He says, "Oh Abbas, your life has no meaning after Hussein. Look and see the wafa of Abbas. He places the strap of the water skin between his teeth." Do we need any example other than Abbas in our lives, our brothers and sisters? But Allama Mukarram, he writes in one of his books, he says, "Have you seen the way the rain falls? Have you seen how the rain falls from the sky? This is how the arrows came at Abbas on the day of Ashura. One of those arrows pierced into his chest. This does not faze Hazrat Abul Fadl al-Abbas. One of those arrows went into his eye. Hazrat Abul Fadl al-Abbas cannot see from his right side, but Hazrat Abul Fadl al-Abbas can still see his qibla." But my brothers and sisters, the narrations tell us that there was one arrow that it hit its target. Hazrat Abul Fadl al-Abbas would rather have it struck his heart than where it struck on the day of Ashura. It strikes its target, it pierces the water skin, and now see how the water that was destined for the children of Hussein, it pours upon the sands of Karbala. The heart of Abbas pours upon the sands of Karbala. The enemy narrates that we saw Abbas and he stood there mutahayyiran. He was confused. Look and see how Abbas is now turning around in circles. He does not know where to go. Should I go to the camp of Hussein? And should I tell Sakina that I could not bring you water, that you're going to die thirsty? Or should I go to the Furat? Should I go to the river? Maybe I'll take some water in my hands. But he remembers, I don't have hands. I have given them to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Someone strikes the head of Abul Fadl al-Abbas, Alamdar Bani Hashim. He falls upon the sands of Karbala. Some narrations say that he fell on his face. He does not have hands to brace his fall. Of all of the masa'ib that al-Bani would have to hear, she would have to hear that my son fell from his horse and he did not have hands to brace his fall. Imam Hussein comes to his brother. Hazrat Abul Fadl al-Abbas can smell his fragrance. He says, "My master Hussein, can you take the arrow out of my eye so that I can see you? Can you clear the blood from my other eye so that I may look upon you one last time?" Imam Hussein looks at his beloved. Some say that he placed the head of Abbas in his lap. Abbas moved his head off of his lap. He brought it back again. He says, "Abbas, what is this?" Hazrat Abbas says, "Oh my Mawla Hussein, I know that in a few moments there will be no one to comfort you when you are ghareeb in Karbala. Forgive me, my master Hussein. I went for water and I have failed you." Imam Hussein says, "Oh Abbas, We are not worried about water any longer. Where is the protector of my women? Where is the protector of Sakina? Al-ana inkasar al-dhahri. Now my back is broken. Brothers and sisters, Sakina looks in the distance and she sees that the flag of Islam has been raised again. There is hope in the heart of Lady Sakina. Lady Zainab are seeing now that the flag is returning. But look and see how Sakina sees that it is not Abbas who is coming back to them. It is their father Hussein. She says, oh my father, where is my uncle Abbas? I do not want water any longer. Bring my Abbas back to me. Inna lillahi wa inna ilayhi raji'un. Wa saya'lamu alladhina zalamu ayya munqalibin yanqalibun. Matame Hussein, Ya Hussein.
Ya Hussein, Zainab is looking for Abbas to appear. Oh my Abbas, if you were here. Oh my Abbas, if you were here. How could Zainab's eyes ever see tears? Oh my Abbas, if you were here. Oh my Abbas, if you were here. How could Zainab's eyes ever see tears? Oh my Abbas, if you were here. Oh my Abbas, if you were here. When the arrow struck Ali Akbar, Hussein was searching to see where you were, calling your name, come help me, brother. All he would yearn for was you to hear. Oh my Abbas, if you were here. 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 When the heads on spears were risen, someone noticed one head was missing. Find Ali Asghar, where is he hidden? They pulled his body out with a spear. Oh my Abbas, if you were here. 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 I had witnessed my brother's demise. I saw him slaughtered in front of my eyes. Oh Abbas, come help, I would cry. Why did you go when I needed you near? Oh my Abbas, if you were here. 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 Sakina waited for you to return. Earrings snatched and her clothes were burned. With every whip for you she would yearn. Her delicate face and strike so severe. Oh my Abbas, if you were here. 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 After you our tents were invaded, Your sisters in Sham were paraded. We were called names and degraded. People threw stones at us and cheered. Oh, my Abbas, if you were here. Oh, my Abbas, if you were here. Oh, my Abbas, if you were here. How could Zainab's eyes ever see tears? Ya Hussein, Ya Hussein, Ya Hussein, Ya Hussein, Ya Hussein.
صلوا على محمد وآل محمد. Where are my hands to wipe the tears they're crying upon these sands? From thirst these girls are dying. Your banner stands, for Abbas it is calling. Where are your hands to wipe the tears they're crying upon these sands? From thirst these girls are dying. Is it the day of judgment? Fires are burning your tent. They cry holding my garment, Abbas. They saw your flag had fallen, confused. Their only children, one name by them, is spoken, Abbas. It cannot be that the tent of Abbas falls. It cannot be these queens unguarded by walls. It cannot be. No Abbas answers their calls. Where are your hands to wipe the tears they're crying upon these sands? From thirst these girls are dying. Where are your hands to wipe the tears they're crying upon these sands? From thirst these girls are dying. Where are your hands to wipe the tears they're crying upon these sands? From thirst these girls are dying. The last thing they remember, on his horse their flag bearer, leaving to bring them water, Abbas. Where are your eyes to gaze upon our anguish? Where are your eyes to watch the fire flourish? Where are your eyes whose sight makes despair vanish? Where are your hands? Where are your hands to wipe the tears they're crying upon these sands? From thirst these girls are dying. Sallu ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad.
صلوات على محمد وآل محمد. صلى الله عليك يا أبا عبد الله. Let us take a moment before we continue our matam to put our hearts where Imam Hussein's heart was. His brother was the bravest of the brave. His brother was son of Amir al-Mu'mineen. He was the Haydar of Karbala, constantly asking his brother, Ya Sayyidi, Ya Mawlai, can I go and fight now? Sayyidi Mawlai, can I go? And Imam Hussein kept him close. Not when his son Ali Akbar died. Not when Ali Asghar's throat was slit, when Imam Hussein was holding him in his own arms. But it was when Abbas fell that Imam Hussein says, now my back is broken. Now the enemy has taken from me everything. Now my back is broken. Maulana, you told us that Hazrat Abbas called Imam Hussein Sayyidi, Mawlai, my chief, my master. It is said that throughout his life, Hazrat Abbas called Imam Hussein Sayyidi, Mawlai, never my brother. But some say that on that very end, in that moment when Imam Hussein is holding his brother's body as it's nearing its last moments of life, some say that at that moment, Hazrat Abbas called Imam Hussein. Some say that he called upon Imam Hussein, Ya akha, adrak akha, oh brother, come and get your brother. Maybe just hearing him say brother might have put a little bit of peace and calm into his heart. If only it wasn't that they tell us the reason why Imam Hussein heard his brother finally one time call him brother. They say it's because Lady Fatima was looking down upon Abbas and she said, my son, my son. And Abbas only then took that as permission to call Imam Hussein my brother. O Haydar of Karbala, sallallahu alayka ya saqi atasha, ya Abbas ibn Ali. Haydar, son of Haydar, my brother Abbas. 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 Haydar, Haydar, son of Haydar. Haydar, son of Haydar. Haydar, son of Haydar. The bravest man the Arabs knew was Ali al-Karrar. His memory lived on in you, Abbas, my alamdar. The bravest man the Arabs knew was Ali al-Karrar. His memory lived on in you, Abbas, my alamdar. Haydar, son of Haydar, my brother Abbas. What Haydar was to Muhammad, you were to Hussein. What Haydar was to Muhammad, you were to Hussein. But now you've gone, my brother, and I'm left bearing the pain. And now you've gone, my brother, and I'm left bearing the pain. Haydar, son of Haydar, my brother Abbas. Haydar, son of Haydar, my brother Abbas. Haydar, son of Haydar. Haydar, son of Haydar. What I would give to hear you call me brother once more. What I would give to hear you call me brother once more. But now alas my hope has died on Al-Qama's shore. But now alas my hope has died on Al-Qama's shore. Haydar, son of Haydar. My brother Abbas. Haydar, son of Haydar. You gave your strength and bravery for the sake of Al-Islam. You gave your strength and bravery for the sake of Al-Islam. You taught us how we too can serve the path of our Imam. You taught us how we too can serve the path of our Imam. Haydar, son of Haydar. Haydar, son of Haydar. Bab al-Hawa'ij, your name we stand before your door. Bab al-Hawa'ij, your name we stand before your door. Keep the love of Hussein in our hearts forevermore. Oh, keep the love of Hussein in our hearts forevermore. Haydar, son of Haydar, my brother Abbas. Haydar, son of Haydar. Haydar, son of Haydar. son of Haydar. My brother Abbas, Ya Abbas, Ya Abbas, Ya Abbas, Ya Abbas. Ya Abbas, Ya Abbas, Ya Abbas, Ya Abbas, Ya Abbas, Ya Abbas, Ya Zainab, 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 Ya Ali Akbar, Ya Ali Akbar, Ya Ali Akbar, Ya Ali Akbar, Ya Ali Asghar, Ya Ali Asghar, Ya Ali Asghar, Ya Ali Asghar, Ya Ali Asghar. Hussein, Hussein, Ya Hussein, 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 Hussein. يا حجة ابن الحسن عجل على ظهورك، يا حجة ابن الحسن عجل على ظهورك.
اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد. All together. اللهم كن لوليك الحجة ابن الحسن جميعا صلواتك عليه وعلى آبائه في هذه الساعة وفي كل ساعة وليا وحافظا وقائدا وناصرا ودليلا وعينا حتى تسكنه أرضك طوعا وتمتعه فيها طويلا برحمتك يا أرحم الراحمين. وصلى الله على محمد وآله الطاهرين.